Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we are exploring a truly fascinating piece of educational technology. We're talking about MedSim, which is, quite honestly, the ultimate healthcare management simulator. If you've ever found yourself wondering how we bridge that massive gap between dry textbook theory and the actual high-stakes reality of hospital administration, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to unpack exactly how this platform totally transforms the game for MBA and healthcare students.
But first, let's step back and look at a massive challenge. Think about this for a second. How exactly do you train leaders for a healthcare crisis? Like, how do we prepare the next generation for a sudden global pandemic, a brutal economic crash, or even a massive staff strike? You can't exactly practice that stuff in a real hospital, right? Not without risking real lives, real patient outcomes, and literally millions of dollars. The stakes are just too high. So, how do we give them that crucial experience they desperately need?
Okay, let's dive into this. The answer is a totally risk-free yet incredibly realistic simulation. And that's exactly what MedSim is. It's this dynamic environment where students actually compete to run private hospitals. They're managing everything: budgets, patient satisfaction, bed capacity, staff salaries, the whole shebang. But if they make a catastrophic call and bankrupt the place, nobody actually gets hurt. It gives them the pressure cooker of high-stakes decision-making, but with a safety net to fail, learn, and try again.
And when we talk about this platform, we absolutely have to talk about scale. You might be wondering about the limit on the number of students or hospitals that can run at the same time. Well, guess what? It's zero. There are literally zero limits. Whether you're running a tight seminar of 10 people or a massive lecture hall with 500 students, the whole thing scales perfectly. Students form teams, usually 3 to 5 people, which is great for collaboration, and they all battle it out in the same shared dynamic market. Now, what makes MedSim a real game changer is how it balances two completely different experiences. It's essentially two distinct tool sets. For instructors, it's all about ultimate control, crafting the market, setting the difficulty, and monitoring progress with tools like the Scenario Builder and God Mode. But for the students, it's all about survival and strategy. They get modern management lifelines like an AI copilot and a what-if simulator to help them navigate the chaos. Let's actually break these down, starting with the educators.
All right, Section 1. The instructor's domain, ultimate control.
And this brilliantly illustrates where educators get to completely shape the market. You don't have to sit there manually calculating complex economic shifts. Instead, you can trigger extreme, realistic market modifiers with literally a single click. Boom, pre-configured presets. You want to see how they handle a pandemic? Click the preset, and instantly, patient demand surges by 2 times, and supply costs jump 1.8 times. Or maybe you want to test their financial prudence with an economic recession. Demand drops, and interest rates absolutely skyrocket.
But wait, it gets better. You aren't stuck with just one scenario for the whole run. Instructors can use this dynamic year-by-year evolution feature, meaning you can craft a full multi-year narrative arc. Start year 1 with a stable market, let them get comfortable, then bam, year 2, epidemic outbreak, crisis management mode. By year 3, you shift them into recovery. This dynamic timeline forces students to constantly adapt their strategies, exactly like real healthcare administrators have to do. And just to keep things even more unpredictable, instructors can inject narrative events into specific rounds. Picture this. The students are doing great, cruising along, and suddenly, a staff strike temporarily slashes their hospital capacity. Or maybe you hit them with a surprise health inspection that tanks their safety rating. On the flip side, you could throw them a lifeline, like a philanthropist donation that injects a cool $500,000 in cash. It makes the whole simulation feel incredibly alive and reactive.
Now, what's really interesting about this next concept is the ultimate intervention tool, God Mode. And look, it's not just a gimmick, it's absolutely crucial for teaching. God Mode lets the instructor peek under the hood of literally any hospital in the simulation. You can view a team's entire performance history, and here's the kicker, you can edit and modify their decision values. If a team is totally misinterpreting the financials and about to ruin their learning experience, you just step in, fix the errors, and show them the consequences of a better strategy.
And actually using it during a live class is incredibly seamless. Step 1, you just click the little eye icon next to any hospital on your dashboard. Step 2, you edit the specific decision values, maybe tweak their staffing levels or adjust a loan request. Step 3, just save it. Even if the students already submitted their decisions for that round, your edits automatically unlock their submission and save your changes. You can even submit on behalf of a team that forgot to hit the button. It ensures the whole simulation keeps moving without a hitch.
Okay, let's move on to Section 2, the student's arena, surviving the crisis. So you might be wondering, how on earth do students survive the absolute chaos the instructor just built? Well, their first major lifeline is the what-if simulator. Before a team ever locks in a final decision, they can run it through this tool. It projects the potential impacts of their choices on their budget, capacity, and ratings. The documentation explicitly advises instructors to push students to use this, to test their theories and document their reasoning. It basically turns wild guessing into calculated, data-driven strategy. Their second lifeline is the AI Copilot. I absolutely love this quote from the source guide. Use the AI Copilot as a decision support tool, a critical modern management skill. Because MedSim isn't just teaching bed occupancy rates, it's teaching them how to work alongside artificial intelligence. When they get hit with a devastating market modifier, teams can actually consult the integrated AI for strategic advice. They learn how to evaluate and apply machine-generated insights in a real leadership role. Plus, students are never just competing in a vacuum. Even if you have a really small class size, they're always going to face fierce market competition. Why? Because instructors can drop fully automated AI-controlled hospitals right into the mix. These AI competitors make reasonable, though, not perfect, strategic decisions based on their current state. So human teams always have to fight tooth and nail for patient demand and market share, no matter the class size.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this all builds into analytics and real outcomes.
Because at the end of the day, all those high-stakes decisions, the strikes, the pandemics, fighting off the AI, it all has to translate into measurable, gradable data, right? After every single round, the simulation crunches a ton of advanced analytics. You've got the hard financial metrics, sure, like cumulative profit and hospital valuation, but it also tracks the critical human elements of healthcare, a reputation score from 0 to 100, bed occupancy percentages, and patient satisfaction. It's a holistic view, so students can't just game the finances while ignoring patient care. So the crucial point is what you actually do with that data. MedSim generates these highly visual tools, like comprehensive hospital comparison charts, which are just perfect for classroom debriefs. Imagine projecting a chart right on the board, showing exactly how Team Alpha's high-end care strategy stacked up against Team Beta's volume-based approach, and how both of them fared against the AI hospital. It takes all those abstract numbers and turns them into a super compelling, competitive story that students get instantly invested in.
And hey, from an administrative standpoint, wrapping up a semester is incredibly easy. All of this rich data, every single decision and financial fluctuation can be exported. Instructors can use God Mode to jump into any team's dashboard and download CSV files for a really deep data dive, or they can generate beautifully formatted executive PDFs. These reports are practically tailor-made to drop straight into a grading portfolio. It makes student assessment objective, fast, and completely seamless. Which brings us to our final question. We've seen the incredible scale, the historic crises, and the modern AI tools. So, are you ready to build the next generation of healthcare leaders? MedSim proves that we can safely prepare students for the unimaginable. The only question left is, are you preparing your students for yesterday's textbooks or tomorrow's reality? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.